Jessa, we're going to talk about Calla tonight. So we know that Calla is a kind of half wastelander, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And she is, I guess we could kind of call her like a warrior priest. She's a priest, but she's a little bit on the fighty side, working at the temple. So why don't we start with, tell us what she looks like, and I think as we talk through her description, we'll get into that wastelander thing a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So Calla visually, I imagine, is mostly like normal looking with a little bit of spiciness on the edges.
Okay.
So by passing, if you saw someone in a shadowy street or they just walk past, maybe you wouldn't think too much twice. But if you look closely at the details, there's, a few things that are a little bit telling that maybe she's not quite human so much. Like she doesn't quite hit the default. My headcanon for Calla is she's just kind of like very average in many ways.
Okay.
Like she's average height, average weight, a little
Okay.
pear-shaped.
It's all right.
Because she really, and we'll get into this, so she really quite likes baked
That's
goods.
true.
So, but I do see her as just kind of like almost like a soft rosy color, but
Okay.
like bleeding off into almost like a lavender on her
Oh,
fingertips.
okay.
Maybe with a little bit of claw action in there that you wouldn't really see, like almost like pointed fingernails, very slightly that hint at her
Okay.
heritage. Something that she, you wouldn't often see because she is a warrior and she does wear a lot of armor and she's often found in her armor. So day to day, that isn't something anyone would
Okay.
notice. Um, and she does also have some
All
horns
right.
that sweep back from her
Like
head.
curly, like
Um,
ram kind of horns, or more just like sticky outy? Like,
I would say, okay, so with Calla, I think she's in the process of growing her horns back.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so maybe she doesn't even quite know how much they will curl, but I would say like back and curling around to a bit. But she's somewhat young, right? So Calla is your age of your freshly graduated university student.
Oh, okay.
Um, so she's fresh into the world. She's fresh into the new experiences. So, I feel like she doesn't quite come into her own in her own personal style as well as her own real personality, although it's there. Can I drink this on camera?
Yeah,
Is this
do it.
okay?
Yeah, it's all good.
Having a good time here. Yeah, like so Calla, the thing I didn't notice is Calla being a little bit, not quite I don't want to use the word normal, but she's a little bit different. Has one thing that she does always is she loves flowers. So she picks wildflowers and flowers from gardens and she builds little flower crowns.
It's nice.
Um,
Okay.
and then she occasionally will gift the flower crown to a child or take the flower out and make someone stay with it. And by doing that, she actually has the ability to sort of mask anything that's going on in her head.
Okay.
And she's got very pale, almost like wavy hair that's kind of cropped a little short.
Okay.
So, with a little bit of pinning and stuff like that, you can hide it, especially if maybe you're ashamed of your heritage and you might cut your horns down or shave them down a little bit so that nobody notices. And maybe you're in the phase of your life where you're growing out your hair, but it's your horns instead of your
Dive in.
hair.
Let's dive into that then. So we don't know where the
Yeah.
wastelanders come from. Some people blame them for, bad things that happened. Maybe that desolation that's off in the West. Maybe that anciently is your people's fault. No one knows, but your people look so different that, people that aren't nice like to blame people that are different. And unfortunately, in our world, that's you. Now, you're only half wastelander. So
Mhm.
is it your dad or your mom that is full on wastelander?
So it's my mother.
Okay.
Dad was an adventurer, and
Okay.
that's how people meet when dad goes out
Sure.
adventuring, trying to, on a fetch quest, let's say, recover something of great importance.
Right.
Um, I like the idea of two people arrive independently at, one particular location. Maybe it's a temple, maybe it is a hidden village or something, and there's something to be found within it. But you
Mm.
find two people that show up to find the exact same thing, and maybe they have to work together in order to find it and meet each other along the way. And it forms a wonderful blossoming romance that leads to a child. And then you move to the city to try and give them a better life. Part of Calla's joy in life is that she grew up in a family that was supportive. Unlike a lot of adventurers in the world who have horrible childhoods, Calla was wonderful. Her parents supported her. She always had something to eat.
Yeah.
She was taught how to read and write. They, anything she wanted to do in the world, they were supportive. They were there. They had her back. My parents are both alive, and
Yeah,
they
nice.
they have a bakery in town. And so Calla grew up in the bakery. She grew up, creating things and working with it, meeting lots of people, and just becoming very friendly with the community. Calla is a very imaginative character.
Okay.
And she loves tales of adventure. She loves big stories. She loves the idea of romance novels. Like, this is totally up her alley. So, as a young person, being influenced by, oh, my parents used to be an adventurer. My dad was this great adventurer and he found some great relic. And then maybe the funds from that allowed him to start this bakery. And she finds
Mm,
that just really exciting and really fun. And so she at some point in her youth was like, I want to be an adventurer too, and I want to go and have adventures, which started a love of, I think, just going out and trying to do something awesome or something cool or trying to live up to the legend
yeah.
of other legendary heroes. Where this translated into priesthood specifically is that, if your child comes to you and you know that it's a dangerous wasteland out there and they're like, I want
Right.
to be an adventurer, and you're like, oh, honey, maybe you should stay at home.
To guide
But
you. Yeah.
but you want to be supportive to your young child. So you sign them up for adventuring school. So you send them to the university and they learn to
Right.
read and write and get their knowledge. And then maybe you think that they should perhaps go to the temple for training and do it the proper way
Right.
and get a formal education. And maybe you'll get a great job.
Right.
You won't have to. So
And
that's
you won't
that's
have
the
to
path.
adventure. Yeah. Okay. No, I like that.
Exactly. So that's the path that Calla took. It was more of like a, hey, honey, we want to keep you like in the nest, but we want to support you, but we want you to do it safely. And
Right.
it's sort of worked out, but as the adventure goes on, Calla has been drawn more and more into the wild, so
But, like,
probably
I mean, you think
walking.
you navigate it well, but like going to the university, I mean, is
Yeah.
discrimination part of your upbringing at school? Like,
Oh, naturally.
how did you navigate that?
Calla is a character with extreme optimism, almost to a point where she always tries to find the good in everything. And Calla's mantra is to try and advocate for non-human rights. So she's always here to say, hey, I'm an advocate for non-human rights. Like, I want to make a great impression on somebody so that when they meet somebody else that might not be me, they look upon them fondly because of the lessons that I've taught them. So she's always trying to be pleasant. She always has this overarching need to prove herself. And it's like prove herself as nice and be cheerful. And so she kind of comes at it with a toxic positivity mindset, which she's going through that right now.
Well, then let's talk about the priesthood a little bit,
Yeah.
the church. So you belong to the Church of Harmony, kind of the standard church, right? Um, are there all different kinds of priests? Like you're obviously on like the militant guard kind of side, but are there your traditional, just like I run the church service, I go bless people that are dying, or do you do that too? Or how does that kind of split?
Khaled would do minor blessings, but that's not her role, I would say, within the church. Like,
Okay.
she's much better at being the person that, okay, so Calla is the kind of person who would do maybe a little more violent thing to prevent some other more gentle soul from having to do it. So
You're not like an
she would,
assassin for the church, are you? Like we're not.
no, no, no,
Okay. All right. Okay.
no.
All right. Scaring me for a
Um,
second.
but if a great evil were to rise up and, come for harmony, like some other, I don't know, worshipers of a dark god, or I don't know, something more evil, Calla would be one of the people that would be expected to stand up and fight against that greater evil. But that doesn't happen. It's more the potential threat of evil. Like, I would say in the status quo of where we're at right now, there's a peacefulness around the
Okay.
world that's been built. But you do have this wasteland that lies off, it's to the west,
Yeah.
where things become a little unknown and there are the potential for darker things to lurk. People
Mm,
automatically assume that there's some greater,
mm,
more nasty
okay.
thing powering it. And so I think one sect of the Church of Harmony is really focused towards protection. And so if
Right.
there is such a thing out there, when it arises, we will be here to fight as light bringers against that darkness. as we're talking about it and brainstorming a little bit, I like the idea of there being like a great arbiter and then maybe a council of harmony
Mm,
because with harmony, there's multiple different facets, right? So
that's
you
right.
have your farmer, you have your thief, you have maybe your widow, that people all pray to these elements of what in the end is one multifaceted God or holy power,
Right.
where they are all separated but also the same.
What do you think are her long-term goals? What do you want to do in 10, 20 years?
Honestly, I think and I think our characters are always shaped by the adventures that they go, they journey on. So everything is open to change. But I think Calla, like her dream is to become one of the type of adventures that is sung about in songs and written about in books. And
Mm.
she wants to be some great, almost like folk hero, where she can come home to the people and she's done some great, amazing thing, but she's definitely being perceived in the lens of this is a good thing, and you've got a good shiny effect on the world. I think she would love it if the people and all the different species could come together in harmony. Would be her like overarching goal, right? Because she wants to represent the differences among the people and be a positive representation of that. And so, beyond that, I think deep down inside, she is a romantic. So she's like, oh, I'm going to meet my sweetheart adventuring out in the wilderness, just like my
Right?
parents
Yep.
did. And it's so amazing. And then we're going to come home and we're going to have a family, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think at this moment, she's in her I want to be a hero
I and
phase.
it sounds like there might even be like a little bit of a character flaw in there, which I love that you you want to make sure everybody sees you in a good light because you want, I
Hmm.
mean, that's you want to be in the stories, you want to be in the poems, and so there may be a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of like self-importance there that she
And
feels.
I see that as almost like a deep investigated need to be liked, which can be
Yes.
such a toxic trait in people
Yes.
where you'll do anything to make someone like you, even if it goes against your creed
Yes.
in a
Okay, I
way.
like that.
And that in itself can be just, it can't go well. Sometimes you're like, yeah, everybody likes me, but then what did I have to do? What did I
Yeah.
have to compromise for that to happen? Like, what did I have to change about myself to put this facade
Yeah.
up where now everybody talks about this person that I might be, but deep down inside, that's not
Right.
me.
But I like that they talk of,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I like that. That's good. That's a good, I think that's a good
Yeah.
thing that we've discovered about Calla. So, all right. So now to close out, here's what we're going to do. I want you to kind of put on the mantle
Yes.
of Calla, get in your Calla character. So we've been talking as Jess and Brandon. Now I want you to be Calla, and I'm going to ask you 10 rapid fire questions, just sort of silly.
Oh
I know, right?
gosh.
So just, you get in her mindset and just without thinking too much, give me some one or two word answers, and we'll just sort of see what happens here and see what
All
Calla has
right.
to say about these things.
I'm
All right, here we go.
excited.
All right. Calla, what is your favorite color?
Pink, obviously. I love pink.
Obviously, yes.
Obviously.
What does a person need to be happy?
What does a
What do they
person need
need?
to be happy? Well, they just need a loving family and a kind word. And sometimes I think a warm meal in their belly goes a really long way.
Ah, yes. What do you fear most of all?
Oh, I try not to think about that really. Um, I think
Hmm.
I think I really don't like the feeling of loneliness.
Loneliness. I like that. That makes sense. Well, do you think that everybody deserves love? Everybody, good or bad, does everybody deserve love, Calla?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What's your
Mhm.
favorite type of cake?
Oh,
I
That's
got
like
you with that
asking
one.
no, that's like asking a parent what their favorite child is. I suppose everyone
Child
does
is.
secretly have an answer taped down inside. What is Calla's favorite kind of cake? It's got to be a kind of fruit cake, but like an apple, like cinnamon
Ooh.
kind of like where you blend the fruit
Mmm.
into the batter of itself and you bake it
The
into
batter.
the cake.
Yeah. I like that.
Um,
I like that.
mhm.
Who would win in a fight, you or Graham?
Me.
Mm, of course. All right. All right.
She's
What is something that you just can't stand? It like annoys you, like a pet peeve of yours. What is it?
I like everything. This is really hard to say. Um, One thing I can't stand would be when you're on guard duty and someone is just shuffling and squeaking or just making noise and their armor is rubbing together, or they're sniffling, or just making
You're like,
annoying
stand
noises that just
still. Yeah. Okay.
exactly. It's
Okay.
just like that the whole time, just after hours and hours and hours of it.
Polka dots or stripes?
Polka dots or stripes? Polka dots.
All right.
We like some spots.
Honesty question. Have you ever stolen anything?
No, never.
Okay. Not even a taste of that apple pie?
She may have stolen a glance
Okay.
of
Okay.
one or two things
Glance.
in her
Okay.
life.
All right. And last question. Do you find handlebar mustaches to be handsome?
Um, I think it.
This is what we need to know about
Oh,
Calla.
I love this important question. I think, to be honest, it depends on the fabulousness of the mustache. By
Oh, well,
default, no,
okay.
but if it was like all
Oh,
spiraled or like twisted in with flowers or had really
oh,
big
yeah. Okay.
handlebars all the way out, I don't know if it'd be so much attractive as more just impressive, which in itself
Spectacular.
can be a
Okay.
bit attractive,
Okay.
you know?
I like it. I like it. But that's not the kind of man you're looking for out in the wild. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that is it. Thank you for spending some time with us, Jessa and Calla.
Now I'm
That's
gonna
right. So,
now I'm gonna be looking out for men with handlebar mustaches.
handlebar mustache. I'm gonna have to throw some in the adventures. We're going to have a whole adventure of a town of handlebar mustache men. So, like the opposite of like the Amazonians.
I'm in
There'll
for
just be like an island of
of just
mustache guys.
mustache man.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we will see you out in the adventure. Thanks so much. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Bye.